All right, Tony, episode 26. We are older than what did I say last week, a quarter centennial.
Do you have to say quarter? Does centennial automatically mean 25 years?
Well, centennial means 100.
Oh, okay, quarter centennial. It's still too early. No, I haven't had my coffee yet. But yes, episode 26. We're finally over that quarter centennial mark.
26. It was a slow week in terms of tech news and tech launches, but there's still a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so let's see. What do we have this week? So of course, Olympics is going to be wrapping up in the next couple of weeks. Some exciting competition across athletics, or also known as track and field, basketball. One especially interesting, very hot on TikTok the past couple of days to talk about. And then, of course, how could we not talk about Black? So that'll be something else we'll cover. And then I think we have other additional topics that I guess we'll bring up and see how it goes if we have time.
You said athletics, otherwise known as track and field. I think this is the first Olympics I've heard that term. Do you know where it came from?
It's actually called athletics.
Why? I mean, but why? When? Because I've always grown up hearing it called track and field.
No, it's called athletics.
Hmm.
That's the official Olympics IOC term. It's athletics.
Interesting.
Yeah, if you go to the Olympics website, it's actually called athletics, and then track and field is the subsets of all the different sports under athletics.
I see. So just like swimming, and then you have the different events in swimming. You've got athletics, and you've got the different events like track and field, pole vault, long jump, etc., etc.
Yeah. But swimming is not athletics, though.
No. Swimming is a different subset of event.
Correct.
Okay. I like track and field better personally, but
yeah, track and field is what most people know it. Yeah, but they're all grouped under what they call athletics, which is kind of weird.
Well, we had some exciting Olympics this last week. Track and field, or athletics, track and field started up. The other things that were interesting that I liked watching was cycling, so cyclocross. And in cyclocross, one of the ones that I watched was the women's team pursuit. So team pursuit is when two different teams start on different sides of the cyclocross track. So, it's like a little circle, like a little oval that they race around. So when one starts on one side, the other one starts on the other side, different lines. And they have to cycle at the same time around each other. And it's called pursuit because you're basically pursuing the other team. And so you're trying to, go as fast as you can to catch them. But ultimately it's just to get the best time going around the tracks. And the women's Team USA won their first gold medal in that event. And so for team pursuit, it starts with 4 cyclists. And so 4 cyclists, they take off at the same time and they're pursuing the other team. And it's very fun to watch and super fast because they go around the tracks and then they need to switch in and out. Because if you're familiar with cycling, basically whoever's at the front of the line is doing the most work. And the people behind you get the benefit of drafting behind you. And so you do less work when you're following someone. And so the way that they do it in the team event is they switch in and out. So they'll be borderline, and then the first person will come up and then come behind the team. And so they have to do it really quickly because these riders are going 40 miles an hour around the track. So you have to do it really fast.
Right.
And they take the time based off of the top 3 cyclists. And so eventually someone peels out and just stops, riding because that person was just there to help, pull
Draft.
and do the work. So it's pretty epic. You can also get, as you can imagine, you can get some pretty epic crashes in this
Oh,
event.
yeah. Yeah. I'd
And
be so scared.
yeah. And so, yeah, the women's team won their first gold medal. It's really fun.
Okay. That's not so yeah, I haven't seen any news around cycling, so cool.
I'm a big cycler myself, and so I like to follow it. We had the women's 4x100. They won the gold medal, and I'm sure you saw the TikTok or whatever meme of
Yes. Yeah.
where she had time to look behind her.
Yeah, slightly behind, pulled up front, just kinda, like, looked to check to make sure that she had enough gas going. It's kinda
Right.
what it was like, "I'm gonna start pulling away, but I'm gonna check just to make sure if I need to hit overdrive or not."
Her face
Pretty
was
epic.
funny though. She was just like, okay,
Yeah,
I got this.
that's the epic finish.
Yeah. On the contrary, the men's 4x100, so the men's side of the house did not medal. In fact, they were disqualified because they had a bad baton transition. There are certain rules when transferring the baton, and basically they didn't do it correctly and got disqualified. And
Mm.
the U.S. men's team has not medaled in this sport since 2004 at the Athens Olympics. So they've been
Oh, wow.
flubbing each time.
When I think of track and field, I still think of, uh, Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
He's, like, so memorable, but and he's still trending, like, on the memes and stuff, about his personality, like, how he's very down to earth. He was, like, very respectful to, like, um, the staff, on the track, every time he runs. But anyways, not to sidetrack.
Well, on
I'm
that,
surprised, not surprised, just because, like, when I think about, like, who is, like, the standout, like, track and field from the men's side, um, but there was that what was it this week or was it last week? It was men's, um, where he won gold. Quincy Hall. Was it Quincy Hall? Quincy Hall in the 400 meter. That was pretty epic. It's like literal photo finish. They had to draw lines on the photo to see who
uh,
crossed first.
I was hearing about that because in another podcast I listened to, Omega is the official sponsor of the time.
Oh,
And
are they? Okay.
so something like the camera takes hundreds of photos of that photo finish
Yeah. Yeah.
just to get it right.
Yeah. But that was also an epic race.
Yeah,
It's
and
like he pulled yeah, awesome.
I learned that the whole body has to cross the finish line, not just your foot.
But for the head, yeah. Yeah, they was like your hip, was it your torso? Like your torso or your chest? Yeah, I think they count by the torso. But anyways, that's where I kinda saw. Yeah, because that was a literal photo finish with the Hall. He booked it,
And
man. He was, like, behind. He's so just like I was like,
yeah,
okay. Anyways, track and field, yes, it's some awesome races happened over the past couple weeks.
yeah. Noah Lyle was the other one who got a bronze in the 200 meter, but people are giving him heat because he had COVID when he did that race, and so the athletes are, uh,
Rightly so.
or yeah, rightly so.
Rightly so.
You want to talk about these last two that kind of you added or you were interested in?
Yes. Uh, so I didn't actually watch the game, but luckily TikTok had a summary of all the highlights. But yeah, the one of the big semifinals was USA versus Serbia in men's basketball. Uh, Pretty awesome. Team USA was down like 15 points for almost
Yeah.
the entire game, and they brought it back. in the last, I want to say it was like 8 minutes.
Mhm.
They brought it back down to the wire. I mean, they won by like it was like 3 or 4 points. It's like you
Okay.
guys are cutting it close. But LeBron, Curry, I can't pronounce his name. Starts with the D. Uh,
It starts with a D. Well, there's Embiid. Are you talking about Devin?
Yes, I think that was right.
I mean, you got
Yeah, but
Durant
no
and Durant.
Durant. I forget. This is what happens when I only watch highlights. But definitely is Curry and LeBron were the standouts.
Yeah.
He was just
I
like
think I
3 point
watched the
after a
highlights there,
pointer.
and I think it was like in the first 5 minutes, Steph Curry had 5 or 6 threes. So
Mhm.
all the points in the first 5 minutes were from Steph Curry.
Right. So the gold medal, the yeah, the final
Yep.
gold medal should be.
And so both they and the women's US team are going to be in the gold medal match now against France.
Right.
And
Shout out to the
this is a
women's team
rematch
too.
from last Olympics because France beat the US team in the last Olympics
Mhm.
to get the gold. So this is a redemption match for sure.
Yeah. You know the story too that previously, they didn't have the NBA professional basketball players in the Olympics, and they were only amateurs, but they
Yeah.
changed that policy because it was I forget, this was way back, but US Team USA lost, and people were like, "There's no way we should be losing basketball," and so that's when they allowed the NBA players into the Olympics.
Yeah. This was probably like in the 90s, right?
Yeah,
A while
it
ago.
was way back then, yeah. When they sent Jordan to take care of everything.
Yeah. The dream team. That was the dream
That's
team.
right. Yes, exactly, the dream team, that's right. Um, fun fact for our younger listeners that NBA players weren't always sent to the Olympics until we lost.
All right. You want to
But,
take us home with your last interesting story here?
yes, this one, the most trending thing over the past couple of days, if you didn't know, this is the first Olympics that breakdancing is an official sport. And there is a breakdancer from Australia, Ray Gunn. I'm sure
Ray
been
gun.
on TikTok, you've had a Ray Gun. You've had to seen this. It was the most ridiculous performance, ever. She was just flopping around, um, on the stage. It was just like people are like, "How did she is this the best Australia has? Like, how did she even pass the qualifiers?" Which from what I've read so I guess so from what I've read is she's just an actual dancer, break dancer, and she's good, but for some reason or another, she did this whacked out performance. Not even performance, she scored a 0
So
on
was that
that.
that was on purpose?
Think so.
Hmm.
So I found an article because I was actually trying to look for this, like, okay, she has to be trying to make a statement or something. And I came across this article on The Guardian where she was like, "What I wanted to do was come out here and do something new and different and creative. That's my strength, my creativity." Um, but when I initially saw it, I was like, "Wow, she's, like, so disrespectful to the sport or to the craft of breakdancing because all these other people, they're there to compete, right? As like and she's like it feels like she's just making fun of breakdancing, which is kind of a shame because it's breakdancing's first like official like in the Olympics, right? And she just kind of made a mockery of it. So it's actually kind of
Yeah.
good that
It,
she
what's
chose to do it that way.
Yeah, it does sound like it was a statement or she did it on purpose because reading this here, she says, I was never going to beat these girls on what they do best. So I wanted to move differently, be artistic and creative because how many chances do you get at that in a lifetime to do that on an international stage?
Exactly, right? And it kind of made a mockery of it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised anyways.
Okay. Well,
It was just
when I was
it's
watching
funny, it was memeable, but it was sad.
these, I was like, is I don't know if it was it's like, yeah, I had the same reaction as you, basically saying, "How did this person make it into the Olympics, and is this the best Australia has?" But then I thought, "Oh, maybe it is the best Australia has because
Right,
you're not necessarily, from what I've seen, not known for, I guess, like,
right.
that type of culture."
Yeah, and like, to be fair, right, it's like, one, I get what she's saying, it's like, okay, so, like, these are athletes that are, like, at the top of their game, right? But the way she did it was disrespectful to the sport itself, and I say that because there have been other instances where other countries, like, I don't know if this is
Yeah.
right or not, but I feel like it was, like, American Samoa or some country from there, like, competed in, like, one of the track and field events, and they were,
They just
they
ran
were dead
the
last.
guard out.
They were, like, way behind, but they ran the race, like, with the intention of they are competing,
Yeah,
right? Not like, "Oh, I'm here and I'm just gonna, like, waddle or jog." Like, they made the effort, and, like, she made no effort, which is just, like,
yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
shame on her.
And then, well, also shame on Australia, maybe. I don't know. Like, she took a
Yeah, whoever their Olympic
spot
committee is, yes, correct.
she
I
took someone's
agree.
spot that could have gone to someone who actually would have tried.
Yeah, yeah, it was an embarrassment. Now that we're talking about it, I'm actually kinda angry.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's our
Alright.
Olympic news. I didn't mention, men's soccer gold was,
Oh, Spain.
Spain.
Yeah.
With Spain. Spain beat France yesterday.
Spain is one of my teams, so happy to hear that.
Yes. I was very partial to, Barcelona. So
Yeah. I've got some Spanish Filipino heritage, so
Oh,
I latch
really? Yeah.
I latch on to the 1% of Spanish that I have
Yeah.
to associate with the country
Yeah. So I s
'cause
yeah. So for anybody who's a Real Madrid fan, no offense, but I'm
yeah,
kinda partial to
I'm a
Barca.
Barca fan myself. Alright, let's move on to the next topic at hand. Go over
Yes, biggest topic of the week. I guess you could also say tech related because I'm sure everybody in tech was like, "Oh, no, my stocks are totaled." But anyways, Black Monday. Everything basically, the Nikkei led the market on, like, Sunday nights, tanks like 10, 12%, and everybody was in a panic of what is going on. And then, of course, Monday opened and the S&P was down 2 3%, which is about 200 points. So yeah, the Monday did not start out great as the entire stock market crashed, if you were paying attention. And so,
which I
yeah,
wasn't
I mean,
because I was
that's
camping and
yeah.
had no internet connection.
Luckily, Matt was camping. So, what happened was, I guess the way the media talked about it was there's been this ongoing thing where Japan has forever had, like, literally very low interest rates relative to the rest of the world, and people were taking advantage of that to basically, um, arbitrage, for the interest rates in order to invest. Um So, that's kinda what happened. Bank so, here's how it works, is so interest rates in Japan are very cheap, so people would go to Japan and borrow yen at a very cheap rate, and then go buy, let's say, US equities and crypto, right? Because it's like if I'm paying 0 interest, but I can earn at least 1% interest, or if you're here in the US, right, like high yield savings accounts are like 4 5%. It's like it's almost like a no-brainer. Like borrow 0, earn 5%, and I'm making money, right? And so what happened was Bank of Japan did a surprise. Oh, we're going to start raising interest rates. People were not expecting it. And so now people are like, oh, wow. Like now that that formula, that calculus is different. Um, and people started panic and started to unwind that position. I guess most people call it the yen carry trade. And it's not something new. It's been something people have been doing forever. But yeah, everybody's just more surprised. And so that's what happened is people were trying to unwind their positions very quickly. And so it just crashed everything. But everything picked back up because US economy is still strong, supposedly, even though we don't feel like it.
That's not what Trump says.
That's what Trump says, but look into the future. Don't look back. But anyways, it ended up being a nothing burger because we are back to where we were, a little bit higher actually, at the end of the week.
Point
So for
point
those
zero
people
four
who
percent higher.
so for those who dip bought on Monday, congratulations, because easy money.
Yeah. And along with that, the stock market, obviously crypto also made the similar crash as well. I I would kind of call it a crash as it was so fast.
No, it was yeah. I
Uh,
feel like it's worse for crypto because people are so leveraged, like, once it goes below a certain it's easy to cascade down in crypto,
yeah,
right?
it went
So it
down
was
fast. I did see that happen on Tuesday. I was like, what is going on? But
yeah,
crypto, basically, Bitcoin plunged about almost 30% the last week. And
yep,
if Bitcoin is plunging 30%, then the altcoins are going to plunge anywhere from 50 to 80%, depending on the coin.
yeah,
And so if you took that opportunity to dip buy, which both Tony and I did a little bit, you're back up. You're not,
yeah,
it's not, it didn't get back up to where I guess it closed the week prior, like the stock market did. But whatever you bought on the dip, it's up around 20% at this point, 20 to
yeah.
40%.
I mean,
And
it's pretty significant, like, Bitcoin broke 50,000, right?
yeah,
On that Monday, and now it's back to 60,000, like, it's over what is that? So $10,000, like, 50 to 60, I mean, it's pretty significant
yeah, it's 20%
and
back up.
rebound.
So 60,000 is a key level for Bitcoin. We need to basically end this week with it holding above 60 or at least $60,000, and it should be somewhat safe. But if it doesn't hold 60, then could see more downside.
More downside. Unless you kinda know where the floor is now. Well, I feel like with crypto, it's pretty easy. Well, I say pretty easy, um, but the support levels are pretty defined.
Yeah. I think personally for me, I think this is a healthy and good pullback and one that was needed since the market was going so high. Uh, Ideally, I'd want to see back under 500 for this for a SPY for S&P 5,000.
Mhm.
Probably like 480, 490 range is what I would say would be a healthier pullback for me. Uh, but who knows if we'll actually get there.
Who knows?
Depends on the election, how the election's trending. Kamala, by the way, I saw this morning is up 5 points now ahead of Trump in terms of
Oh, is she?
in terms of the polls.
Mm.
So that's another
Yeah,
one.
I
Okay.
yeah, I feel like I'm spending way too much on TikTok, so I guess the algorithm is showing me showing me Kamala and then showing me, like, the super, like, Trump is, like, breaking you. It feels like Trump is breaking.
I see. The algorithm has detected that you lean right.
I you know, I just wherever I find interesting. Um, I'm kinda like, uh, was it Cuban? Is it Cuban? Yeah, like Cuban, he's, like, independent. He's not Democrat or Republican, just wherever he thinks, like, makes sense for that time. Um, so yeah, I wouldn't say I'm either or, but I would say I'll just say I've tended more towards the Democratic side over the past
Yeah.
because yeah,
You're a
like easily
moderate.
brainwashed. Huh?
You're a moderate.
Yeah, yeah, probably more moderate.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I guess everyone's anticipating what happens next week with the stock market, and everyone's on the edge of their seat. Personally, I think we're gonna have maybe a small down week or like a neutral week, and then we'll go back up. But
We'll
part
see.
of that is
We'll
just
see it.
emotional optimist in me
Yeah.
wanting my money to come back up versus go back down.
We'll see. Like Iran. So there's still instability in the Middle East, and I think
So,
that's the only outstanding one where like they say they're going to strike Israel, and it's like planned. We're aware of it, but hasn't happened, and so I think that's just another slight sticking point that'll probably keep the market from like going too much higher until it either happens and it's like okay, it's happening. Start buying more stocks or whatever, right? Because the market doesn't like it.
yeah,
Then
yeah,
elections are only where wow, elections are gonna be coming up soon. Like early voting starts in September, so
yeah. About 3
about a
months
month
away.
away. We'll start to see.
All right, let's close it out with the last story here, and this is a tech story. In our electric vehicle or electrification space. Company that kind of made the news, a company in India called Ola Electric went public on the Indian stock market at about a $5 billion market cap. And so we brought this one up. Tony and I haven't actually looked too much into the company or at the site, and thought it'd be good to just react to what we see here kind of live. But let's open up this Ola Electric site. Well, let's talk about the highlights. So shares of Electric surged about 20% in their market debut on Friday, again valuing that startup at about $5 billion. They raised more than 730 million through that IPO, and the company makes electric scooters and only shipped its first
Car.
product 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
So let's see here. As we know, scooters are a very, very popular form of transportation, right, in India.
Yeah.
But let's take a look at this website.
I feel like
Read
I've
all.
seen electric motorcycles here in the US. They just haven't taken off.
Yeah. They're building the India of tomorrow, and they've got the Ola S1 Pro, the Ola S1 Air, and the Ola S1X. They have this big touch screen on the top of it.
Mhm.
And so it looks like it's going to play something. Yeah, it looks like they have full mobile device integration. You can see where your scooter is, and it has navigation, which makes sense. So fully electric, GPS, and you can track and do a lot of things on a device. Looks like they have a bunch of Ola stations to where you can actually charge your scooter, which makes sense. And the interesting thing at the bottom of their homepage, if you look at the bottom, they have something that says birth of a new breed of cars,
Mhm.
which implies that they're also going to start making cars.
Yeah.
Is that what you gather from that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is about 1,300. So this Ola S1 Pro is about 1,300 USD.
Which I think is comparable, because I think if you get like a Vespa, for example, it's around that price.
Yeah. Okay.
They have their own operating system called Move OS. And if you go to the site, it's very Apple-esque
Yeah.
with the tiles and all the stats.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, like motorcycles and scooters are definitely more popular as a transportation method in Asia,
Yeah.
just because of cost. It's cheaper. It's easier to get around. If anybody's ever been to like Vietnam as an example.
Yeah. So it sounds like, for the most part, they are taking a lot of the, Tesla playbook and trying to be that for the for scooters, and eventually
Yeah.
we'll see how they do with cars, but trying to be that for scooters in India and Asia. And
Yeah.
it's not a bad play. I can see why they IPO'd and why the public was interested in getting a piece of this company.
Yeah. I think, with scooters, I think the issue really is gonna be infrastructure in order to be able to charge them at scale. It's even more so than cars. Like, if you think about how many scooters are actually out there, I mean, we're talking like, yeah, I can't imagine what the number of chargers needed in order to effectively keep all these scooters charged. That makes sense.
Well, this is where you know
A
about
lot of scooter owners.
battery swap technology?
Yeah.
This is where I feel like battery swapping would be more handy because scooters, I'd imagine you can just take a battery out and put a battery in. It's a lot easier versus charging
Yeah. But you have to carry them too, right?
the battery. No, what I mean by that, what I mean is instead of charging stations, battery swap.
Oh, like battery swap stations. Got it. Neo tried something like that, right?
I feel like
Ah,
that
yeah. Sorry.
would make sense in this case is you just pull up to a station, swap the battery versus having to charge because that's instant. And in these scooters, I feel like it makes more sense because the battery is a lot smaller.
Yeah. Have to be
So
swappable. Hey, maybe you should start up a competing company. That
no,
is
just
swappable. It doesn't look like these are swappable, so it actually
I'm
sounds kinda silly to say that too, because if you think about electric bikes today, right, they use swappable batteries, so why wouldn't you carry that forward into a scooter? They're not
yeah.
much different.
I'm sure they I'm sure there's a reason. Probably if we dig, they'll probably the CEO will probably talk about it or address it. I'm sure there's a reason, but at the same time, if something like Neo, a car company, the much bigger battery can do it at scale,
Yeah.
then why couldn't a scooter company do it?
And actually, that brings a question, if you're going electric, why does it need to be in the shape of a scooter? Why can't it just be a bike?
That's true, but maybe does it come down to what people are familiar with in India and Asia, for example? Like a lot of people use these scooters in this form factor and familiarity or just norm.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like bikes, I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Almost 5, but, whatever. They raised 730, so
Yeah.
doing something.
All right, yeah, it's a cool company. We'll keep paying attention to this. I think in general, the electrification of other types of vehicles, I'd like to see that accelerate more. So I'd like to see like scooters is one that's probably on the easier side, but I'd like to see acceleration of electrification of boats. What's harder is electrification of planes, right? But
Yeah,
just all types of transport. I think electrifying those are very much doable. It's just the technology and the companies that are going to make it happen aren't there yet.
yeah. Yeah, I've seen some boats. There's this YouTube channel of this couple who just bought an electric catamaran that he used to sail the world. I was like, "Oh, wow, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool." It's a hybrid. I mean, they use electric motors and gas, but the key point is it's electric. They have solar cells that power it, and so I thought, "Oh, yeah, that's a use case that makes a lot of sense, right? Is you're out in the middle of the ocean, tons of sun, you can collect solar, and you can use electric, and while you're charging, you can sail.
makes total sense.
Makes sense for sailboats. I'm not sure how it will work for like larger vessels.
Speedboats or like cargo vessels.
Yeah, like cargo vessels, cruise ships, etc.
Yeah.
Because those are probably the biggest mega yachts. Zuckerberg, Bezos. Have you
Well,
seen those things? It's insane. how huge those yachts are.
Yeah.
And they're only like Zuckerberg, like maybe give him a pass because he has like a family, like he has a couple of kids, but Bezos is just like him and his what fiance, fiance.
Okay.
I don't think they're married yet. It's like just the two of them in that boat. You could carry, not to get into that, but it's just like man,
Yep.
completely different life,
Flex of wealth.
right?
All right.
Anyways,
Well, I don't think we have to talk about layoffs. We're at 40 minutes already, which is plenty of
yeah,
time.
yeah,
But okay, let's see how we're gonna end this. Oh yeah, so yeah, I agree. And those yachts itself they should build their own like nuclear reactor on the yacht, which would power the boat indefinitely
right.
by itself. All right. On your Zuck note, I mean, he's been making a lot of news lately himself, and during this stock market downturn, Meta was one of the shining stars that didn't actually drop so significantly. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
something to
back
watch.
up above 500.
Yeah,
Feeling good. Feeling
yeah.
good. Feeling good about Meta.
Well, I hope we're feeling good about all of our portfolios after next week when we meet again. I'm wishing that for everyone because as amount of red we've had in the last month here has not been fun.
See you next week.